Hey guys, welcome to UK Foundation. This is Kavya. Today we are going to do chapter 8, How Do Organisms Reproduce? Very short answers. Without delaying, let's get started. Here we go with our first question. 28. In a bisexual flower, in spite of a young stamens being removed artificially, the flower produces fruit. Provide a suitable explanation for the above situation. So what the mean is, we have a bisexual flower. What is a bisexual flower? A flower which contains stamen and a stigma. So when we remove the stamen, it becomes a unisexual flower. That's obvious, which contains only stigma. So but then too, when we yet remove a stamen, but then too, this unisexual flower is able to produce fruit. So how is that so? This is the only question, and it's very simple to understand. So we'll see the answer. See, we know that a unisexual flower, what is unisexual flower? It either contains stamen or stigma, right? Suppose this contains stamen and this contains stigma. This also can produce fruit. How is that so? By cross pollination, right? By same process, even a flower which is bisexual, and when we remove a stamen, we have the stigma. This also can produce a fruit by the same process called cross pollination. Simple. So I guess you're clear with the question. We'll move on to the next question. 29. Can you consider cell division as a type of reproduction in a unicellular organisms? Give reason. Now what is a unicellular organism? Or organism which have only one cell, right? Now what is reproduction? What is reproduction? See, when an organism will give birth to a new individual or a offspring. This is called reproduction. When we have when a offspring or a new individual is produced, it's called reproduction, right? Now, can or can cell division can be considered as reproduction? That's the question. Now, let's take a simple example of amoeba. Now, amoeba is a unicellular organism. True. So, this is the amoeba. Now, how does amoeba produce or reproduce? By cell division, right? The nucleus will get divided. This is the nucleus. I guess the font size is too big. Yeah. So, this nucleus is going to get divided and give rise to two new individuals. So there is an individual form. In the sense, this is reproduction and this is a unicellular. So we can consider cell division as a type of reproduction in unicellular organisms. Simple. We'll move on to the next question. 30. What is a clone? Why do offspring formed by a sexual reproduction exhibit remarkable similarity? Now, what is remarkable similarity? Remarkable similarity is nothing but they're very similar. Very similar. Now, what is a clone? First question is that. Now, clone is nothing but a offspring produced by a sexual method of reproduction. It's called clone. See, the clone or the offspring which is very similar to the parent is called a clone. And how is it so very similar to the parent? Can a sexual method of reproduction give a offspring which is very similar? No, right? Only it is possible only in a sexual method of reproduction. Sexual method of reproduction have variations, but a sexual not that much, right? Very similar. That is clone. So when we put it into a sentence, clone other aggregate of cell or organisms which are produced asexually. I'll repeat it. Clone are the aggregate of cell or organisms which are produced asexually. Now, asexual reproduction involves only one parent or single parent, and therefore there are not much variations. So we are clear with this also. Next, 31st. Explain how offspring and parents of offspring reproducing sexually have the same number of chromosomes. Now, that happens, okay, what they are saying is, suppose this is the parent and this is the offspring. This also have, suppose it's a human, it have 23 pairs of chromosomes. This also have 23 pair of chromosomes. How is this so possible? Now, this is possible because halving of chromosomes happen during gamete formation. Halving of chromosomes happen during gamete formation. So that's the reason we have the same number of chromosome as the parent, or the offspring have the same number of chromosomes as the parent. See, x by 2 chromosomes plus x by 2 chromosomes will give you x, right? We are halving the number of chromosomes while gamete formation. That's again giving us the same number of chromosomes. Simple. So now halving of chromosomes is nothing but diploid number of chromosomes. It's also called as diploid number of chromosomes. This is clear. We'll go for the next question. This is done. Colonies of yeast fail to multiply in water but multiply in sugar solution. Give one reason for this. Okay, first of all, what is sugar? I'll change the color. Let's make it colorful. What is sugar? Glucose. Sugar is nothing but glucose, we can say. So this glucose, what can it produce? Like generally you think energy, right? So we are clear with this. Now we'll get back to the question. Colonies of yeast fail to multiply in water, but they multiply in sugar solution. Now we know that yeast requires energy. Yeast requires energy for growth and cell division. Growth and cell division. So I guess you got the answer now. How is it so related? Now it needs energy. Okay. But what is the question saying? It failed to multiply in water, but successfully gets multiplied in sugar solution, right? See, as glucose is giving energy, obviously it can successfully divide its cells, right? In sugar solution. Simple. So when we put it into the statements, once again, when we put it into the statements, yeast requires energy for its growth and cell divisions, whereas water does not provide the required amount of energy, but sugar solution provides the required amount of energy needed for growth and cell division. That's the reason it can produce in sugar solution, right? We're done with 32nd also. Yeah. We'll move on to the 33rd one. Once again. Yep. Why does bread mold grow profusely on a moist slice of bread rather than on a dry slice of bread? See, when you have a favorable condition, that's good for you, like you will stay healthy. Suppose it's an unfavorable condition, it would be so suffocating, you feel so irritated, uncomfortable, right? Same way, when sports have a proper condition for it to grow, then it will germinate and grow, right? Spores need a proper condition to germinate and grow. So this proper condition is nothing but moisture. ISTURE. So this is the condition required for spores to germinate and grow. That is moisture. So obviously where you find moisture? In dry slice of bread, true? Wrong, right? We obviously find moisture in the moist slice of bread, not in dry slice of bread. Therefore, bread mold will grow properly in a moist slice of bread, right? Because there is proper conditions required, which is moisture to grow and germinate. Simple. Next question. This is done. 34. Give two reasons for the appearance of variations among the progeny formed by asexual reproduction. Progeny is nothing but the new offspring. Progeny is nothing but the offspring. So they're asking us to give two reasons why there is variation between the offspring and the parent in sexual reproduction. We are seeing this since from my first video of how do organisms reproduce. Sexual and asexual. Asexual there is only one parent involvement. In asexual, two parents involvement. No gametes. Over here gametes, right? Simple. Over here you can relate it to this and frame up a sentence. First thing, two parents have different sets of characters. Second, gene combination are different in each generation or each gamete. Next, gametes are contributed by two individuals of the same species. First thing, see, I'll explain you. Now this is a parent. Let's make it colorful. Color, which color do you choose? Okay, how can it be totally different? Let's make it a little similar. Half with green and other half with yellow. This is the offspring form. Next, this and this will give so blue is a character from this one, and pink is from this, green is from this, and yellow is from this. And now these two organisms are gonna give rise to a new one, which is super colorful, right? This is the organism form. So now you can see that the characters are different from generation to generation, right? Two parents have different sets of character. Now this and this are gonna give this individual, and this are gonna give this individual. So the characters are different, but again this are gonna contribute to different characters, giving a different offspring, a different combination of characters, right? So there is a lot of variations. Obviously, there are a lot of variation between them. Next, gametes contribute by two individuals of the same species. See, because of these two and this two, these two are gonna give the characters. Not only one of them are gonna contribute, both are gonna contribute. That's the reason that they're having a lot of variations, right? I'll repeat up the statements. First is gene combination are different in gametes. Next, two parents have different sets of characters. Third is gametes are contributed by two individuals of same species. We are clear? 33 done, 34 done. Next, 35. Would a planaria cut vertically into two halves regenerate into two individuals? Complete figure 8.2. D and E by indicating the regenerated regions. So, what is planaria? Like, how does it reproduce, sexually or asexually? It reproduces asexually. Now we know that when a planaria is broken into fragments, it regenerates the rest of the part of its body. So in planaria, vertical cut have to happen, and we need an external force to cut up the planaria. Planaria doesn't get into half by itself, or it doesn't fragment by itself. It needs an external force, and other component or something have to be there, force on that have to be there, so that it gets broken down into pieces. Next, regenerates. So that is true. Planaria will regenerate into two new individuals when it's cut vertically. Now next they're asking us to draw the diagram. I'll try my level best to draw it. Let me zoom it up. I guess this should be perfect. Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. So first, not that good at drawing. My bad. This is the regenerated part of this, and they're asking us to indicate it. Obviously it's in a other color, so you can just put a slashes. So this is the regenerated part. For the second one, it's just forming an other vertical part, this one. That's it. And for people who didn't understand my drawing skills, I have an easier method. Let's name this to be part 1 and this to be part 2. So for D, the regenerated part will be 2, and for E, regenerated part will be 1. Simple. No much efforts. And we'll minimize it and go to the next question. 36. From the internet, gather information about the chromosome. Number of 5 animals and 5 plants. Correlate the number with size and organisms and answer the following question. So some of them which I collected, I'll just put it. Let me take a blank screen by help of this. Yeah. So first thing is cat, that have 38 chromosomes, not pair of chromosomes, it's just chromosomes. This have 19 pairs, so I'm not writing in pairs, I'm writing number of chromosomes. Yeah, cat 38, horse 64, rabbit 44, elephant 56, man 46. And these are the 5 animals, and 5 plants are corn is 20, cotton is 52, pea is 14, mango is 40, onion is 16. Now let me minimize it. I guess we'll get it properly. My bad. So we'll see the first question. Do larger organisms have more number of chromosomes or cell? So this were the chromosomes, right? Now larger number of chromosomes in which we have, that should be having, oh, back. Okay, that got deleted. I'll just say it orally. So whichever have the larger number of chromosomes, that have to be larger in size. So which have more number of chromosomes, that have that organism have to be larger in size. And in whatever I wrote, horse at 64, and let me write it again. Horse at 64 and elephant had 56. So too many chromosomes or more number of chromosomes are present in horse. Is horse larger than elephant? Obviously no. So this did not be correct, right? It is not correct. So larger organisms do not need to have more number of chromosomes or cells. Next, can organisms with fewer chromosomes reproduce more easily than organisms with more number of chromosomes? Let's take the same example. 64 and 56, right? Now both have to put the, like, we can't say that elephant or horse is gonna reproduce easily than each other, right? So it doesn't mean if you have lesser number of chromosomes, it's easy to reproduce. We end of the day have to halve our chromosomes. End of the day, the chromosomes will get halved while the gamete formation, that's it. So second one is also wrong. More the number of chromosome cells, greater is the DNA content. Now, this is a good one. What is a chromosome? This is X chromosome. Now, each section of this chromosome have DNA. Have what? DNA. And each section of a DNA have gene. Right. They're asking more number of chromosomes also have created the DNA. Now if I have one chromosome, suppose I have one chromosome, so I'll be having four DNAs. Each section have a DNA, right? So I'll have four if I have one chromosome. If another one is having two chromosomes, he'll have 4 into 2. He or she will have point. He or she will have. If they have two chromosomes, then it is 4 into 2, 8 DNA. So more the number of chromosomes, more is the DNA, right? Obviously, that is true. Now, gene is the one which contains all the information. So this is important. Each section of a chromosome have DNA and each section of a DNA have gene. We'll move on to the next question. (37) In tobacco plant, male gamete have 24 chromosomes. What is the number of chromosomes in female gamete? What is the number of chromosomes in a zygote? Now let's take human being. In human being, how many does a female have? 23. How many does a male have? 23. It's the same number of chromosomes for both, same way. In this, male have 24 chromosomes, then obviously a female will also be having 24 chromosomes. Next, what is the number of chromosomes in zygote? 24 plus 24? 48. So 48 chromosomes are there. This was easy. We'll go to the next question. This is done. 38. Why cannot fertilization take place in flowers if pollination does not occur? Now, what is pollination? Pollination is a process where a pollen grains goes and stick onto the stigma. Right. Now, what is fertilization? Fertilization is a process of fusion of male and female gamete. Right. When a pollen grains stick to the stigma only, fertilization happens. Over here, a long tube, which is pollen tube, will be formed. Next, fertilization happens. If there's no pollination only, obviously fertilization can't happen, right? That's the reason. If there is no pollination. So I'll put it into statements. Pollination is a process where a pollen grain goes and stick onto the stigma, and later on it forms a pollen tube by which a male gamete goes and fuses with a female gamete, and the fusion of male and female gamete is called fertilization. So if a pollination won't be occurring, then obviously fertilization won't be occurred, as the fusion of male and female gamete is not possible. We're clear with this. 38 also. Next, 39. Is the chromosome number of zygote, embryonal cells, and adult of particular organisms always constant? How is it constant? Constancy maintained in the three stages. And our first meiosis happens. Next, mitosis. Mitosis. Okay, let me write it quickly. Meiosis, mitosis. Meiosis happens before the fertilization. So, nothing but they are getting halved. So, the number of chromosomes, if the number of chromosomes are X and X, they'll get halved, and that is X. This is called meiosis. What is mitosis? Mitosis happens after the fertilization. In the sense, zygote, embryon will and adult will have the same number of chromosomes. See, when you're zygote, you won't be having 22. Next, you won't have 23. Next, when you're adult, it doesn't become 24. Obviously, it stays constant after the fertilization. That is mitosis. So therefore, in all these three stages, which is zygote, embryo, and adult, we have the same number of chromosomes. We are clear with that. We'll move on to the next question. 40. Where is a zygote located in flower after fertilization? This is a flower. This is the stigma. Pollen grain. Okay, put it in yellow. Pollen grain, pollen tube. This is ovary. And through this pollen tube, the female gamete. Through this pollen tube itself, the female gamete will pass on, and fusion happens near the ovary. This is the female gamete, ovary, and the male gamete is in the pollen grain, which is gonna get fused near the ovary or in the ovary. So where does the zygote be located in fertilization? Near ovary. Simple. 41. Reproduction is linked to stability of population of species. Justified statement. Okay, if there was no reproduction, suppose, then once again, yeah, these are the plants. There's no reproduction. Suppose there were only 3 plants, they remain the same. And one animal. One fine day it felt hungry, it ate one, it adjusted. Next day it felt hungry, it ate. Now there are no more plants, there's no reproduction, only 2 plants were there, only one animal were there. Only for one animal also it won't be sufficient. The next day it have to, okay, it will starve. The next day it will die. Obviously, how many days can it starve and stay, control its hunger? There's no more plants to it. Obviously it will die. So if there is no reproduction, the population of species doesn't remain the same. There no one exists on this earth, nor plants, nor human beings, nor animals. Everything will get destroyed, right? We'll go on to the next question. How are general growth of sexual maceration different from each other? Now, what is a general growth? See, from the baby, you just don't stop at the baby itself. This is a baby. Looks less like a baby, more like a cockroach. But then too, this is a baby, which have eyes and pretty well it is. So now, when you're a baby, you will be small, right? Or weighing up to some 2 to 3 kgs. Now you will be around 40 kgs. So you have been growing. Does it mean that your sexual maturation, like you reach your adolescence age and then you started having the maturations? No, right? See, general growth is nothing but growing in size. That's it. Your body grows, and it's just size, arm, legs, everything grows. But whereas sexual maturation comes, it's when this growth will be started after your adolescence. In the sense, when this growth start, it means that now you have the ability of reproduction, or giving, or or produce a new individual, or give birth to a new offspring. That is sexual maturation. So both are different from each other. Next, 43. Trace the path of sperm during ejaculation and mention the gland and their functions associated with the male reproductive system. First, it's from testis to epididymis. Okay. Next, vas deferens, and next, prostate gland, and next, finally, urethra. This is the path of the sperm. The first question, right? Testis, epidermis, vasa deferens, prostate gland, and urethra. And now the functions are prostate gland. Okay, just let me mention it as only P. Prostate gland. The function of the prostate gland is makes medium semi-alkaline. Makes medium semi-alkaline. And first of all, we forgot testis, right? Testis is secretion of testosterone. Let me rewrite everything. Secretion of testosterone. Next, prostate gland makes medium semi-alkaline. That is prostate gland. Seminal vesicle. It adds up fluid, addition of fluid, so that, see, a sperm needs movement, and for movement it have to be easy, then there have to be some fluid, it can move, so that is the fluid. And this is just not a fluid, it also contains some nutrients which it can supply for the sperm. Next is Cowper's gland. Cowper's PERS. Yeah. And this will, like, let me explain that. Urethra lubrication, CATION, and neutralizes the acidic traces of urine. When a sperm forms, see, our urine is little bit acidic, so this will neutralize the traces of urine, in the sense it will neutralize the urine where it is acidic. That is the work of Cowper's gland. clear. So I'll repeat the path. First thing, testis, next is epidermis, next vasa deferens to prostate, next to urethra. Now testis is nothing but secretion of testosterone. Prostate gland makes the medium alkaline. Seminal vesicle add the fluid. And next the Cowper's gland, that is urethral lubrication and neutralizes the acidic traces of urine. Next question. How many? Okay, 5 more. What changes are observed in the uterus and fertilizing does not occur? Now uterus is nothing but a, okay, this is cool. This is uterus. Now first thing is extra lining of the uterus will degenerate or shut down or break down. Nothing but see, the uterus will get ready. Nothing but it forms a layer so that, let me make it bigger, let me zoom it. So this uterus will form a wall or lining which will be supplied with rich blood vessels so that it will have nutritions. It will make the whole condition perfect for the embryo to develop. Okay, so this lining, when the fertilization does not happen, this will start degenerating. Next, lining fragments and get discharged. So this, in the sense, this lining will get breakdown. And next, it will pass on. Discharge happens in the form of mucus. The form, in the form of mucus through the vagina. It's nothing but the monthly process. See, 30 days once a egg will be released out through the fallopian tube or oviduct. So when this stays here for some days and when this doesn't get fertilized, this egg will go to uterus, and the lining formed will shut down or breaks into fragmentation. Next, this will get discharged through with the egg will also get discharged. This is the menstruation cycle takes place like this. So these are the differences, or these are the changes which occurs. What changes? Okay, we're done with that. 45 is done. 44 is done. What changes are observed in uterus subsequent implantation of young embryo? So the changes, what happens if the embryo is getting developed there, is the question. First thing, as I said before, there will be a lining formed, right? There will be a lining to support the development of embryo. Next, placenta will be there, that is the something like tube-like structure which will be having or connecting the embryo and the mother. This one will be supplying the required nutrients and will remove the wastage also. The required nutrients from mother to embryo and the discharge of a waste also will happen through placenta. Next, the lining will be richly supplied with blood vessels so that, see, when an embryo is growing, it obviously needs some amount of nutrition. So to meet this required amount of nutrition and oxygen, this placenta will be there, and there will be too many number of blood vessels in the lining so that it can reach the required amount of O2, oxygen and nutrition required for the fetus.